All right.
Buddy, you can't have any of this. This is not for puppies. I did find Joseph.
Which is good.
Very proud of myself.
I can't see the pre-roll here, so
It's going. You're loving the bottles right now.
Why are you're in bed with bottles?
Warning. This program is intended for adults of legal drinking age. Whiskey is consumed and discussed. The intent is to educate our palates on the differences of whiskey flavors and not an intent to get drunk. Please drink responsibly.
Why are we laughing?
Hey,
It was
everybody.
the anticipation because there was such a long wait before we started. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew. I fucking love whiskey, and welcome to I Fucking Love Whiskey. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Joseph Limbaugh.
It's me. I am Joseph Limbaugh, and I fucking love whiskey. And we have a guest, Kelli the Opera Geek, and a delightful, very talented person, a friend of Cypher of Tier. So yeah,
I
he's
can
also
actually
in the
censor
chat.
myself on my soundboard now, so I can say the title of your show, but I won't do it.
Oh, you could like bleep yourself?
I can bleep myself. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sad
whatever.
because I wanted to do I wanted to do the Metalocalypse like guitar riff every time I censored myself, and unfortunately I can't.
It just does a beep.
Just as beep.
No.
But I can make any sentence sound like I'm saying something terrible.
Well,
Such as?
I'm not. I told you my parents are probably here.
Oh, okay, right.
but it'll just sound like you're doing something terrible. So
Hey, for any that are unaware of the really complex structure of our show, what we're going to do is sample a new bottle of whiskey about every 15 minutes. The bottles we're going to sample are in the corner there, the approximate time codes. But if you can't divide an hour into quarters, you've probably drunk too much whiskey. We're going to start with this Compass Box No Name. I think this is batch 2. It starts, what do we got here? It's blended at 48.9%. It is 75% Caol Ila, 10% Talisker, 13% Cynelish, and 5.5% Highland. I know that doesn't quite add up. I've kind of rounded those numbers.
That's interesting that they gave us the like what, because that is unusual in a blended. I mean, this is a fancy blended, I guess, but
This is a fancy blended. These are, I believe, the same guys that do Banknote, which we also like.
Yeah, Banknote's a good.
So they're very transparent about what they're putting in their blended scotches. Which
do they tell you what's in Banknote? They don't tell you what's in Banknote, do they?
They give a percentage of malt versus grain alcohol.
All right,
so a little bit. So Kelli, let's start nosing it.
Let's smell this whiskey. Oh my god. Well, that smells very Caol Ila to me.
Sure, I'm going to say that too because it sounds really sophisticated.
Caol Ila is generally like, it's from Islay. It's a very peaty whiskey generally, and when I've had good ones, it smelled like this. Smells like the seashore or salt water, or like I feel like I'm standing on a pier with
Yeah, I'm further down. I'm actually on the beach, and there's strands of seaweed there. Oh,
when we were visiting my mom's family outside Edinburgh, there was a beach that we went to, and it smelled exactly like this smells.
That makes sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's in the right area, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I really like this smell though. It's interesting. Because there's so many whiskeys we've had that smell in this kind of zone, but there's something really nice about this. It's like, I don't know, it's not overpowering. It's in right in a nice place. It's a good nose.
I kind of like the irony that it's made it. It's called No Name, as if it's very kind of generic, and yet they give you such specific breakdown of exactly what they put in it.
Yeah, I feel like it could have a name. It's got so much personality.
Maybe it has so much personality they couldn't decide on a name.
That could be the way they got to it. It's like, we can't name this. That will define it.
How
That will
can
limit
we
it
possibly?
too much.
How can we possibly name this joy? We can't. No name.
All right, I need to taste this.
Let's taste it. Oh my goodness.
It's my favorite whiskey.
Yeah, I would say that. So it's 75% Caol Ila.
Yes, 75.5.
That makes sense. It's got a lot of heat for something that's only 48%.
I would like both you and chat to know that my dad has just started coaching me on whiskey terms on Facebook Messenger because he's in chat.
I think that's fantastic. I
Probably
also
knows-
think you
yeah.
should completely ignore him and make up your own terms.
I think you should just say them slightly different than what he has. Just kind of, that's what I think. That's more fun.
I'm going to do the American tourist thing and just pronounce everything exactly as it looks on the page. What's Islay?
I like Ardbeg. It's a good scotch.
Ardbeg. No, the best thing is put oh God, how would somebody say Lefroy if they don't know how to say it?
My brother calls it Lafrog, I think, just to bother me. He goes, "Oh, Lafrog."
Laphoeg.
Cypher of Tears says, "Hi, Opera Dad." Because that's your last name, right? The Opera Geek.
I think so.
Yeah,
right.
my parents are opera dad and opera mom.
That's adorable.
They are really supportive of everything I do, including like the video game streams. They don't always get it, but my mom has been watching me play video games since I was in high school, and she loved the Chocobo races in Final Fantasy VII. So there you go.
Now, you mentioned you went to see family in Edinburgh. So are either of them directly from there, or
mom? So my mom's great-grandfather is from right outside Edinburgh, a town called Uphall in Linlithgowshire, and her great-grandmother is Glaswegian. So lovely. They came over here. They came over here. I think it's 1924 is what we found the ship manifest from, up through Nova Scotia and down. Dad's family's been here. I've gotten back to the 1700s so far and haven't actually found where they came over. So they've been here a while.
A lot of Scots came through Canada, and some of them stayed. A lot of them stayed in Canada. I'm a quarter Scottish Canadian, so
yeah, a lot did stay in Canada. And many went to Jamaica. It's amazing the things you'll flee when you're on the wrong side of the Jacobean Revolution.
Well, I mean, and thank goodness they did come over, because they started the whole bourbon business here. They came in and said, "Oh, you got a lot of water and you've got some grains. We know what to do with that."
So much water. And water is important, let me tell you, not just for whiskey, but as someone who's lived in New York for 23 years, that's why we have the best bagels and best pizza dough. Is the water.
Because of the magic water, yeah.
The magic water.
Yeah.
We don't ask what's in it.
No,
probably don't
it's not filtered. That's the thing that make. I mean, it's filtered for particulate, but it's not like chemically treated. It's right from the reservoirs. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so it comes down from upstate. There's actually a really cool documentary about it, about how they dug out the tunnel down to New York, because there's no way that.
I'm sorry, I was laughing at
bagel?
Chat. It was
bagel.
Bagel. Someone watches Community, I guess. How do you say bagel? Bagel.
Bagel.
The worst. Bagel.
Yeah,
bagel.
There's.
But some people do say bagel in New York, right?
No.
Don't they?
No.
It's only when you haggle over a bagel.
They say pecan, which drives me a little up the wall. I can't.
That's almost as bad as Jif.
And mind you, being in opera, I've heard many interesting pronunciations when people who are learning about opera pronounce something. And I'm never going to make fun of somebody who mispronounces something, a word they're using, because that means they learned it by reading it.
Yep.
And they just haven't heard it pronounced yet.
Yeah.
It does result in some very interesting pronunciations, though.
You mean pronunciations?
Exactly. Oh, I don't have... Tanya sent me a whole bag full of emote pins and patches, and I don't have the emote she just used in chat. I actually have a patch with that, and I don't have it within arm's reach, which makes me a little sad.
Do you want to get up and get it? We'll let you if you want to.
Just call out to your husband and get him to get it.
That would involve movement.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. No, I have the little Tanya laughing emote with
There's
me.
some pretty funny stuff going on in chat. It comes from Bilbo Baggles.
Bilbo Baggles.
Bilbo Baggles.
Gosh, that's the like third or fourth time I've had to reference Lord of the Rings today.
It's a good day.
It's been
Today's
a
a
Lord of
good
the Rings
day.
Today's
Yeah.
a good day. Just saying, for somebody
Today
else
is
to
a good
die.
day to reference Lord of the Rings, as the Klingons say.
Wow. That's a whole bunch of wow. Oh my gosh.
Today is a good day for somebody else to die. That is, I think that's the Knack McFeagle from Discworld, as they yell that, which are blatantly supposed to be small blue Scottish men. And they just yell a lot and steal cows and drink. Which,
We should probably
you know?
check in with Thad and see what he has
Yeah.
to say. And we should also decide if we're going to put water in this. I think I might try it.
I think I'm going to try it too. I think it's
Pretty spicy, and I want to see what water does. Oh, maybe I have some of that Islay water here somewhere.
oh.
I mean, Islay?
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. It's good if you make bagels with it, with the Islay water.
A little bit of slight peat in the water, I think, for a bagel would be quite interesting.
That probably would be pretty good. All right, here we go.
You'll have to forgive me if I don't put the water in, because I quite like it without.
Yeah,
I
no,
would say
yeah.
we just
You
put
are
one
not
drop in.
obligated
It's
to.
science.
For science.
Yeah, I mean, if we say it's amazing and everyone thinks it's amazing, you might change your mind, but you don't have to. No pressure at all.
The nose, I think, comes up from the beach a little bit. You're getting closer to a bakery that's on the boardwalk.
Oh yeah, it lightens it up a bit. Like, to me, it does smell very bakery-ish, or like there's a sweetness to it. Like, I do like the nose with water so far.
Like this.
Yeah,
I like this taste.
I think like the taste better without water.
I would disagree. I like it with water.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
softens it. Definitely. The burn is.
It makes it more accessible to me. Like, it does what they say a drop of water does. To me, it opens it up, is what I would say. I
What
wouldn't
does the
normally
voice
say
of
that.
God say?
Yeah.
What does Thad say?
All right. First off, I'm gonna go back. It is Jiff. I'm sorry if you create one of the most prolific formats ever. You get to choose how it's pronounced. I'm sorry, but going past that, and we're going to whiskey.
Everybody, it was really nice being here. Unfortunately, the God that you have speaking from the heavens is obviously incorrect.
Yeah.
So
Obviously a mad god.
He's right about everything else, so we can let it slide, I think.
Let it go.
I'm also going to be with Andrew on this. I wouldn't put water in this personally. With water, I found that it just killed off the nose for me a little bit too much, and while it did tone down the heat on the palate, it made it too bitter and astringent for me to like. But without water on the nose, I initially got some sandpaper and sawdust, like you're in a workshop and then you walk outside that workshop into a field of dandelions. There were hints of sweetness, like pears and whatnot. And then I also got the brine, but for me, it was like the brine that you have in green olives.
Green olive.
And then
Olives, yeah.
after letting it sit a little bit, I definitely got some cinnamon in there that was like dusted atop of a creamy dessert.
Y'all are
as
all
far as
like
the taste,
really eloquent, and I'm just like, I like this. It tastes good.
It's just that. It's not us.
It's not us. Don't worry.
That's his job, is to be eloquent and do the test.
Extremely eloquent. I'm sitting
Yeah.
here going, my goodness, now I want like a dessert and everything else.
I love the dandelion note too, because that is such a great, like, when I totally smelled it when you said that. Like, it's such a great note. Were you done, Thad? Was there anything else?
I'm sorry.
and that's quite all right. For the taste, for me, it was quite hot. But there were definitely like hints of peat and like a hint of anise. But the main tasting note for me was like it was cedar planks that were smoldering on my tongue, which was delicious, and I loved every moment of it. The finish for me was forgettable. It was smooth but forgettable. Like, it didn't like stop me from grabbing another drink. It was just like,
yeah,
here you go.
Yeah. It's over quickly. It's a lot of burning cedar and then bye-bye.
We should move on, though. We got to move to the next
Oh,
whiskey.
you're such a taskmaster, Joseph.
Hey, it's got to fit with if people watch later, they got to be able to zip ahead or whatnot, right?
You know what? They can hit the fast forward button a little bit more. I don't feel very much sympathy for
Do you
them.
want me to stop keeping us on track? Is that
Oh,
what you're
no,
asking?
of course. Because it gets us to the next whiskey, which is always a good thing. So here's a Glentauchers. This is a 14-year-old Hart brother bottling, distilled June 2005. It's in a first fill sherry butt. They're from Speyside, 53.6%.
Yeah. Do they still have this at K&L? Because I have a bottle downstairs and it's really good.
It's someone would have to look at the website right now. I'm too busy.
You can get it. You might be able to get it.
You might be able to get this. They have a lot of Hart brothers out right now, a lot of volume, and you just kind of have to take a chance because there's a Glen Ord. They have an 8-year-old Glen Ord from Hart brothers, and it is a sherry bomb. It's so great. So yeah, check out.
Oh, this is not the Glen Ord.
This is not that. No, this is the Glentauchers. But
right. Never mind. I don't have this downstairs. I lied. I'm a liar.
Oh,
You're a lying liar who lies.
No, this is not what I have. Yeah, I am. Oh my God.
But this nose.
That smells like taffy to me. Like really good, like
it's extremely sweet.
And I don't like taffy, but this taffy I would taste. It is sweet.
In a good way.
It has what I would call candy store smell.
I don't think it has nearly as much character as the first one. For me.
Yeah, the first one had an edge to it. This is like much more kind of like, hey man, come on in, have some dessert.
This is the hippie of
compared to the last one, which is like, y'all want some whiskey? Come down to the beach. I'm making cinnamon and whatnots. Daffodils.
Cinnamon whatnots.
That's what sailors who speak like that in Scotland make are cinnamon whatnots with
down by the beach.
Yeah,
you can't make cinnamon whatnots anywhere else.
It's a seaside like specific treat, the Scottish Navy.
I think that maybe I should also explain, if for anybody who hasn't been on the beach in Scotland, or I lived in northern Germany, so I went to the beach on the North Sea. It's not like a beach here. You're lucky. You're like, it's 70 degrees out. That means it's summer and the water's only 39 degrees. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was not fine in the aftermath.
Yeah, you go wade in up to your knees and then you come right back out and you go, why did I do that?
Yeah, I'm from Oregon, so the Oregon coast is very much the same way. It's it is quite chilly but beautiful. The Oregon coast is beautiful, but yeah, it does get warm at times depending on where you are, but it can also get very
I don't
cold.
Believe you.
In Oregon?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not as bad as northern Germany.
New York. So when in New York, when it gets hot in New York, it is just hot garbage. It just smells like hot garbage. It is. I don't recommend it.
No, it does not sound good.
I would only go for pizza or bagels.
Or
or pizza bagels.
No, actually, you know what else you have to get? You have to get food from the halal carts on the street. They are amazing. Like
they're just everywhere.
One of the food trucks actually opened a restaurant where my husband and I live, and we have ordered so many times already. So good.
Should we sip this sucker?
Yeah, this.
Correct, Ms. Sim. Shingle Beach versus Sand Beach is extremely.
Now the taste has a little more character than the nose did, I would say. It also feels a bit hot to me. It has some burn in it.
It's like cracked black pepper. That's the heat in this for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I get that.
I will pipe in with my absolutely not as eloquent opinion.
Untrue.
And say that it's obviously not bad. It's nice, but it does not have as many characters in it. It is a one-man show. It is not a full production.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I would agree with you as well. This is nice. This is pleasant. This would be a good dram to have if you didn't want to think about it. If you just wanted to sit and talk with friends and not really think about what you're drinking, but enjoying it, kind of in the background, low key kind of thing. The first one kind of made you sit up with the nose. It was like, hey, I'm down for the cinnamon whatnots.
Oh, there's Dad. Hi, Dad.
My dad
finally got in. Yeah, this is like a comforting whiskey that you might taste. Like it's like a after dinner or like a dessert whiskey almost to me. It's like,
yeah, because I don't want to use bland. Bland isn't the right word, but it's because it's a little bit more single flavor. It's not going to be as confusing after you've had an entire meal.
Right. And I think it would pair well with something that was a little sweet kind of pastry dessert.
Mm-hmm.
Having this with it would just be, ugh.
I do love pastries.
this also just reminds me of like a freshly baked loaf of bread with butter on it, like a slice of that, or like bread that's maybe a little bit sweet.
I'm really hungry now.
Bread, a fresh thick cut piece of bread and a big slab of just freshly churned butter.
Yeah.
Tiny bit of salt. Yeah. I'll go with you on that.
Maybe just a little bit of like marmalade or something like that. Just a little bit though, like just a hint of it. Also kind of smells a tiny bit like maybe mango.
Oh, maybe.
I don't eat fruit really, so I can't help you out with the fruit notes.
Yeah, I go with
only marmalade. Fruit notes, Kelly. It has to be fruit notes. That's all we would
fruits
accept.
Only.
Fruit metaphors. That's it.
The only flavors that matter.
Fruits. Durian. No, let's not. Bad.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to. I've never had durian, but from what I know of it, I don't think I would like to try it at some point, but I've seen so many people on TV throw up after eating it that
they sell. No, not eating it, smelling it. Eating it is fine.
I'm talking about like
you got to get through
people who are like chefs or go to like eat exotic things or things that they think are exotic, and then they try the durian and they're like, I'm gonna do it, and then they
there's one of the things that's great about living where we do is we have access to so many different types of cuisine and so many like grocery stores, like even like mom and pop grocery stores, and there is one around here that sells durian. And my husband keeps saying he's gonna get, because he does all the cooking. I'm not allowed to cook. I do the dishes. I am a terrible cook. All I have to say is I burned Jell-O once.
I'm a really good cook.
It's a talent. It's very.
I think you have to put Jell-O on the stove to burn it, and you're not supposed to put Jell-O on the stove.
Aren't you? No, you do.
You're thinking Jell-O pudding.
Yeah.
Oh. You're thinking instant Jell-O pudding.
Get out of my head.
Not gelatin. No, we can talk about butterscotch instant pudding because that's delicious. Okay. But no, I burned Jell-O.
That's pretty impressive. Mostly
because I have very high levels of ADHD and simply forgot I was making Jell-O.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna try water in this. I'm not
like excited by it, but I don't feel like water's gonna help it, but I'll wait to see what you have to say. I mean, I could put water in it because I like it, but it's not like,
I mostly want to put water in it just so I can use this little dropper thing.
Yeah. I mean, that got shipped as well.
Science is fun. Science is fun to do.
I still fucking love this whiskey, but it's not one of my all-time favorites. It's very good. It's nothing to dissuade me from ever having it again. But I don't think it's going to be one I reach for commonly.
Yeah, I definitely fucking love it, but it's not my favorite. I do want to try that Glen Ord though. It makes me want to try that because I remember that being. I think I like that better than this.
I mean, let's sell it out right now. K&L, if you're in LA, K&L, Glen Ord, 8-year-old, you better get that. It might be here somewhere.
If you like sherry whiskeys.
I will pass that along to my friends in LA because I am never in LA.
they might have some up your way,
I'm sure
at
they
a liquor
do.
store.
We've got some really nice distributors up this direction. And we've got a couple that will basically if you can't find it, they'll get it.
They'll find it and bring it in, yeah.
16-year-old Lagavulin double matured is what Opera Dad is having.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's having the big birthday tomorrow, so he's getting prepared.
Gotta have that. I just want to say my introduction to peated whiskeys was a Lagavulin 16, and it just blew my mind that a whiskey any kind of fluid could taste that kind of smoky and that kind of peaty, and it just opened this world for me. So, and this is the result. I don't have a nice car. I'm I've got no retirement plan except for whiskey. So yeah.
I mean, at least you won't be lonely.
Right. Hey, do you want to come over and try some whiskey? People will say
No,
yes.
I mean,
People will say yes. Yeah, I know you're right.
You won't be
agreeing with
lonely
you.
because you'll be
Yeah.
drinking the whiskey and won't mind that people are there.
I think I
mean,
like my future better than the sad one you paint where I'm drinking
how is
alone.
that sad? To me, that's a lovely future.
I'm fine with either as long as whiskey's involved because I fucking love whiskey.
I have a very close circle of friends. But when it comes to, and I could be with them all day, all the time, but when it comes to like having to do large group events and stuff, I like I can do it when I have to. Like if I've done a show and the patrons of the opera are there and I've got to go schmooze and everything, I can do it. But I don't know, like to me there's something nice about just being able to sit at home in your pajamas with friends.
I agree.
After a
with
show,
Kelli.
coming home and recharging after you've done all that outward kind of stuff, you kind of need that little self.
I'm 100% an introvert. Like I like being around people, but I recharge by being by myself. Like I have to be by myself. So
I'm of the opinion. I have many friends where we can be by ourselves together, and it's lovely.
That's nice. Those are good friends when you know you can do that.
My best friend lives in Pennsylvania. We always go see them for New Year's, and we'll send the guys out to do whatever they do when they're being guys. And she and I sit on the couch, silence, watch murder shows. We've got her daughter watching murder shows, which is great.
I just have to repeat this joke from the chat. Invest in your 401 kegs.
It's true.
Oh,
that's what you're doing.
True.
Investing in your 401 kegs.
Pirate.
Painting pirate.
Cypher's going to murder you.
Which I think is great. Here's my problem is that once you open a bottle of whiskey, you can't sell it on the market anymore. And I just can't not open my bottles. Can't.
This show might be a big contributor to that.
Oh, it's the reason. It's the reason is like, I can't do this on my own. If I come home on a Tuesday night, I'm not going to open, the Octomore. I'm not going to open this SMWS bottle that are coming up. But on the show, I will open it and share it with wonderful guests and Joseph and Thad. So one wonderful person and two little, other great people.
I really did like that last sip. I have to say we're having too much fun talking to Kelli because we're definitely falling behind. It's it's a compliment. Like we're at almost 5:30 and we haven't,
Yeah, we haven't heard from Thaddeus, and I think we need to.
I'm gonna say no with water. It just takes everything that I liked about it and just makes it very one-dimensional. I like this one a lot better than the previous one, and there were a lot of notes on the nose. Like I love this nose. This nose was it was so good. Like from the start, I got like a sourdough bakery. Like you're just going in, and everything in that bakery is just made out of sourdough. Past that, it was like you open up an oak chest that's full of like woolen blankets, and it's the first time you're opening it for the winter. And then that turns into like a little waxy, and then a very, very small hint of honey. From there, it started to get a little sweet, something that reminded me of blueberry crumble. And then it started to transform into more savory notes for me. And the best I could place it was sauteed cremini mushrooms. And I don't know why I smelt this, but canned tuna, like a super small hint of like canned tuna. Which I love canned tuna, so it's great for me. But
so do I.
I also don't know if I'm having a stroke right now or not. So.
Do you smell burnt toast?
And then past that,
we have to ask because we can't see him to do the rest of the stroke checks, which we're joking about it, but please familiarize yourself with those.
Oh yeah,
everybody
be fast.
Save a life. Yeah, be fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, be fast.
And what does it mean?
I forget what B means, but fast is facial, A is arm, S is something, and T is talking.
Speech, isn't it speech?
Speech.
I think it's speech.
Speech, and then T is time to call.
That my dad just said someone do a fast test. Yep.
But yeah,
I am
no,
my father's daughter.
I'm fine. Sorry for the poorly timed joke.
Oh no, please. If you can't joke about dark subjects, what can you joke about at this point?
Yeah,
so true.
that's all we have left currently in the current
Currently.
milieu. So you got to do what you got to do, right?
you know what? I've just pieced it together right now. Thad eats much better than I have ever eaten in my life.
He doesn't spend all his money on whiskey, Andrew. That's why he's
could be
able to
it.
come
That
up with
could be
these
it.
tasting notes.
I wouldn't go that far. I've spent, a couple thousand this year on whiskey.
That's also true.
That's,
I know.
but how much
you've
is that
shared
compared
it.
to Andrew, though?
It's probably a couple
yeah.
thousand off.
I can't say that I've ever spent that much on any of these lovely drinks. I did spend what I thought was a lot because I'm, me. But for our 15th wedding anniversary, because COVID decided to go, you don't get to go overseas. I got the Macallan, and that was nice.
You got a Macallan 15?
It's nice. That's a nice whiskey.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was like
Yeah.
old books by a fire.
But
That's
it's
what
also,
that
I
was.
think there's a perception that whiskey, like fancy whiskey, is very expensive, which it can be. But like, how long did it take you to drink that bottle of Macallan?
A while.
Yeah, I mean, no one sits down and like blah 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 blah. You don't mix it with stuff. So, like, if because I could spend like if I was hanging out with friends, we could spend $60 on 3 bottles of wine and drink it in a night. But that's one bottle of whiskey that will last me months. I don't know.
I mean, some people have whiskey, other people have Warhammer. They spend about the same amount.
And Warhammer lasts forever.
What
Yeah,
does it?
because-
No,
No, it totally lasts forever because you never actually paint them.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Are you playing the dark
I
tide?
am not, but my husband is. My husband
and is he doing it right now behind that screen?
No, he's playing Vampire Survivor
Okay.
behind the screen right now.
All right, we should probably get
yeah.
into this third whiskey, I guess.
Time wise. Okay. Hey, you know what I love? I
Hmm.
love whiskey.
Hmm.
I'm saying. It's a surprise. I know. SMWS. Where's the camera? There it is. SMWS. Unusually unique. This is a Glen, Scotia, 93.153, 11-year-old, distilled in September 2009. One of 194 bottles in the world. 57.3% from a first-fill bourbon barrel. So
And
the
it's
bourbon,
an SMWS.
What's that?
It's an SMWS.
Yes. What did I say?
No, I'm just saying that because I noticed the bottle.
Oh, okay.
And I love SMWS.
I thought I'd said SMWP. And
Mhm.
What is it? Be fast. What is the?
Yes.
the P stands for Pierce, I think. I'm going to create my own thing. So this was in celebration of the Campbeltown Malts Festival. So they released a couple of bottles in celebration of that, and this is one of them.
But you still had to get it through SMWS, right?
Yes, yes, and I think some of these you have to actually put in for a lottery to get the chance to buy them because there's so much demand. There's a whole 194 in the world.
I really feel like this is being wasted on me. To be honest with
It's
you,
not.
194.
No.
That's a lot of not many.
Kelly, let me ask you a question.
That's a lot of not many. I told you math.
Do you
Math.
fucking love whiskey? Do you fucking love whiskey? We're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll ask later.
I do, in fact, whiskey.
Your father's watching.
I just
I get
censored
it.
myself. You can't hear
Fair.
me. You couldn't hear me censor myself.
I was
That's
looking
that.
forward to there being the guitar
wanted the
riff,
beat.
though.
No, there is a beep. I'm not sure that y'all are gonna hear it on Zoom. Hopefully they hear it. If not, it's very sad because I just sat there and looked very silly. But I'm used to doing that. I'm a performer by trade. I have done some very odd things
It's part of the job.
in the name of a
all,
paycheck.
all performers do. You do what you have
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, I mean, some of the theme parks, man. Theme parks.
Oh wow.
Theme parks.
Oh my god.
It's my
This smells
favorite
like
whiskey.
that hard ribbon candy that you get from your grandma. But
Oh
like
my god, it does.
like,
The one with the stripes.
yeah, but like the most delicious, best version of it, But that's my first hit.
Because it's been dropped in a vat of diesel. I think that's what I'm smelling.
I'm not getting a lot of diesel in this. I mean, there's a bit. And Miss Sim, I would say, yeah, it is a rare whiskey, but by definition, kind of all SMWSs are rare because they are all single cask. So, and each one is unique. So they're all, you know.
That's how you end up with this kind of insane collection is like, oh, that's a different cask. I haven't had that cask. I need to try it. It might be different. It is an organic process. You put all of this wonderful organic whiskey in an organic barrel. Weird things happen. And what they try and do when they create a mass outturn, you know, like Ugadal or like the Johnny Walkers, is they try and marry a bunch of casks to come out with a consistent flavor. But if you get each individual cask, you get these weird, wonderful, unique organic expressions, and that's the excitement of it for us. So I've never had this before. I opened this bottle specifically for the show. A lot of the bottles I have, they're single cask things, and so there's only like 180 or 400 bottles in the world.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably gonna be my favorite whiskey because that nose is phenomenal. Like that first hit of ribbon candy, now there's like a lot of stuff going on underneath it. Oh yeah, that is a really special nose to me.
So fun story. The ribbon candy, hard candies, was my grandmother used to give those to me to keep me quiet in church.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we should not burgle, Andrew. You can just come over, Miss Sim. Joseph and I and you will sit down and we'll sample whatever you want to sample in here. No need to burgle.
Yeah.
No burgle.
Which is funny because whenever
word.
Andrew buzzes to come over to my house, whenever he comes over to my house, he hits the buzzer. And without doubt, every time I go, hello, and he goes, burglar, every time. Like, and I like it's you know, it's like past the point of being a funny joke and back to being a funny joke again. You know what I mean?
He lets me in, so okay.
And you know, there is a lot of drinking in opera. There's a lot of alcohol in opera.
In the actual performance of it?
But unfortunately, we're not actually drinking alcohol, even though the score calls for it.
Oh, okay.
It's very sad. They gave
even
me
on like the
ginger ale
last
once.
night. I always think the last night the props department will go like, you know what? Let's put it in.
Okay, so if you're a bass, you're drinking anyway. Like they do whatever they want. But
because they're that in demand, or
no, because they're basses and their voices are going to be low regardless. Whereas if
I see,
I'm singing something where I'm singing quite high,
you want to be up there.
It can tend to bring it relaxes the muscles. You know, and we use our entire body to produce sound. We don't use microphones.
Right.
When we perform, so we're basically a walking Bluetooth speaker.
And, oh yeah,
you know, if you relax all the muscles, suddenly you're like, I think I sound good. Don't know what the audience is
even more
think.
So, but as the actors say, it's your instrument, but even more so, it really is your instrument.
Yeah, because I had somebody who tried to hire me for a ridiculously low amount to do something up here. Was amazed when I was like, no, I'm not going to drive 50 miles for $100 to do a 3-hour thing. And they said, well, I don't understand why you need more money. It's not like you have an instrument to maintain.
What? You have the most expensive instrument there is.
Would you like to see my student loans, ma'am?
Yeah, ideally it's insured. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's there's that. There's also the time, you know, you go into the back to sign in for the show and you'll see 2 lists. You'll say, okay, the musicians are here. Where are the singers? And I'm like, now we're just being rude. That's rude. Just saying, I have a very spiky crown on and I can throw it. It's true.
And sometimes you have horns.
I never have horns.
No?
I do not sing Wagner. It's very sad because I would be extremely impressive on the horse.
I bet you would.
I'm 6 feet tall already. The video of me as Queen of the Night, the costume made me about 7 feet tall, with the crown and everything, and the costume weighed about 20 pounds. But no, I don't sing Wagner.
And that's the kind of awe I want at the theater.
Is that just a personal choice, or is it like it's never come up?
No, that's a vocal choice. So Wagner wrote for 70 plus instruments, a lot of it brass, and the amount of voice that you have the size that you have to project that over that orchestra with no microphone is a lot. So there's different kinds of voices. I'm what's called a coloratura. I do a lot of little fast notes. I'm also, this is a great word. I'm going to teach you a great word. It's called Zwischenfach.
Zwischenfach.
Sounds a little
Zwischenfach.
German.
It's
Zwischenfach.
that is German. But so basically it's Fach is the old system of categorizing voices in Germany. My dad, in fact, sent me a water bottle that said I got fucked up in my voice lesson. But
I like your dad.
Yeah,
so
that's better than
Zwischenfach-
burglar.
Zwischenfach means I can sing Queen of the Night, but I can also do like La Traviata, which is usually a bigger voice. Just depending, but like I wouldn't do those at the same time because they require different parts of my voice. Like Traviata, for instance, I'm literally dying of tuberculosis over 3 hours, but I can totally sing the whole time.
As
with
most people with tuberculosis with TB can.
In fact,
We're on
yes,
Whiskey 3,
absolutely.
everybody, in case you're keeping track.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
did
no.
taste it. I already sipped it, by the way.
Oh no, I'm already in there. Yeah,
This is my favorite whiskey too.
It's my favorite
100%.
whiskey. I'm
Yeah,
going
for
with
sure.
it.
It's really good.
I would just because Painting Pirate typed it to me and the keyboard is too far away. Yes, Pirate, that is exactly what I meant when I said that is German. That was an Avenue Q reference. But yes,
I've never seen Avenue Q.
It's hilarious, but it's also we're not singing that here.
No, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but you said before the show that you learned the algebraic equation,
quadratic.
the quadratic equation, sorry, to a song, and that you might
Yeah.
sing it on the show. Can I?
I don't believe I said I might. I believe you said we are going to.
I wanted to leave some ambiguity so you could say, actually, no, I'd like not to.
It's
No.
not like you just put her on the spot, Andrew. I mean, come on.
Hey, Lynn. No, it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. It's just like,
Yes!
I've never used it again in my life except for that single algebra test.
And yet you know it forever.
You do, because music is a great way of helping people learn.
Yeah.
It's also excellent for other kinds. I had a terrible speech impediment as a child, and the only way I could get through any sentence was by singing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how my
Yeah,
grandmother
people
did.
who have Alzheimer's too, like they will
Mhm.
like if you can get them to sing, they'll remember stuff,
Connect
because
to
all
music.
that it reconnects all,
Dancers will hear the music they used to dance to, and they remember. Music is kind of like food in that it's a universal language. People say a lot of times that their biggest barrier, I hear you, buddy. People say that their biggest barrier for a lot of them for opera is the language. First off, I'd like to reassure everybody that pretty much every opera company now has super titles. So you'll be fine. But also, if I'm doing my job right, you don't always need to be reading them. The composer.
you can see the intent. You can see the interaction between their characters. Kind of know what is being communicated, right?
And you can
It's like
hear it.
Shakespeare. People are concerned they're not going to understand it, even though it's English. But it's
Exactly.
like if it's performed well, you will understand it.
It's yes, and I mean also with the music, it's a huge collaboration between a composer that I can't even speak to find out what he wanted, obviously, myself, the musicians, but you don't have to necessarily think, oh, this is when Violetta is dying. Not you. Sure, she's dying because it's the last act and there's only 20 minutes left, so she's obviously going to die in the next 20 minutes. But you can feel it because the composer, even though I'm singing very smoothly because I have to, the composer puts very short notes with big rests underneath, and you get that feeling of gasping, so you don't need to be reading every super title all the time if we're doing our job right. And I'm a big advocate of there's an opera that everybody's going to enjoy somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find the right one. I certainly don't recommend starting with Wagner at all.
What do you think of Klingon opera?
I think it's amazing. There's actually a production of Die Entführung aus dem Serail, which is done with Star Trek. Abduction from the Seraglio, and it's done with Star Trek.
Where?
Characters, LA. Pacific
That's
Opera
here.
Project.
I'm just because I'm watching Deep Space Nine right now. I never watched it when it was on the air, and it's like
It's good.
it's really great. It's like of all the Star Treks, it makes me cry more than any other. But there's so many references to Klingon opera. Like it's so often a plot point, and you can hear it in the background. You know,
You
of a lot of
can,
scenes.
you can. But I mean, think about it. The Klingons are people think, oh, because they're just warlike, whatever. They don't have emotion. No, they're very emotional.
Oh, they're super emotional. Yeah.
Honor and
mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, it's also made as part of a joke. I'm a huge fan of Discworld. In case you didn't know, it's a problem. I reference it at least 20 times a day. But the dwarves have something very similar. They basically have the dwarven opera, dwarven ring cycle, et cetera, et cetera. But no, there's an opera for everybody, and there's comedy. I gotta tell you, there's a lot of sex and sleeping around and killing people. And
in opera.
So there's
I'm
an
sorry,
opera
Kelli.
about Salome. I don't know if you know about Salome, but the entire last 20 minutes of the opera is her rolling around, making out with a severed head. Yeah,
that's a kink.
Normal.
Totally kink.
I'm sure
hey, Lynn in the chat says hello, Kelli.
Hello, Lynn.
And also I think was challenging me to come out with an Uncle Nearest. There it is.
I made you cry when I was dying, Dad, because I died too well and scared you.
Aw.
Oh, Dad loves you.
Y'all, we are so far behind the time. I'm not even going to try to keep us. It's like it's 5:48 right now. So
okay, Thad has to give us his notes on this because
let's hear what Thad has to say.
Well, before we get to that, Kelli, have you seen The Fifth Element?
Yes, and I do sing that.
But you sing that opera?
Well, so I sing both of those. The first half is the first 5 minutes ish of what's about a 15-minute long mad scene, which there's problematic language all through opera, but yeah, so that's the first part of the mad scene from Lucia de Lammermoor, which is actually set in Scotland. And it's one of my dream roles, and it totally doesn't have anything to do with the fact that that entire scene is sung covered in blood after you've stabbed your husband to death. But no, I also do the second part. Yeah, I have the sheet music for it in my other room.
Can you actually do that vocal range though?
Yes.
True.
What? Isn't it like a 5-octave range or something crazy?
What do you? It's like you're asking like
those
like
notes
an athlete or like a someone who's like, can you really run that fast? How do you? That doesn't seem.
Well, no, it's a valid question.
I know.
The reason it's a valid question is because they added all the electronica over the voice.
Okay, yeah.
So that makes it sound impossible. It's not.
But it's not.
It's not.
Okay, I mean, like I'm naive about singing, so I felt it was a good question, Joseph.
I'm sorry. It was a good question. I'm sorry.
And that I am quite happy with the question. I enjoy Lucia. It's a great opera. And Lava Laguna is a great little bit to sing. And I may or may not be getting a small isolation booth courtesy of Twitch Gaming, and may or may not have that sheet music in my room for a reason.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Teaser.
Now we're interested. Sorry, Thad, you were gonna give us her notes.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Whiskey. This whiskey for me wasn't as playful and coherent as the previous one, but I still love it. I mean, it's Caol Ila. Like, I can't hate. No, Glen Scotia. Sorry. Caol Ila is 53. Glen Scotia is 93. You know, it's so hard to keep track of all these numbers. But for me, on the nose, I got some sweet oak, some dill. I definitely agree with the ribbon candy, and then it also is a little bit more mellow with like some pretzels and some limon potato chips. For me, the taste for me, I absolutely adore this taste. The palate was sweet. It had like warm apple and pears that were thrown together with some nice sugar, and like, you know, simmered a little bit. And it's just very playful and dances on the tongue for me. And then towards the end, it becomes a little woody and a little bitter, but it's an endearing bitter, something like medicinal, right? And the finish for me, it it's hard to have a good finish, but this one I think has a good finish. It's long, it's numbing, but it's also tart, like a nice lemonade's supposed to be. As far as water goes for me, definitely yes on the nose, no on the palate, because it's very rare for this to happen, but for me, this became hotter with water, but more bitter. And the finish becomes burning instead of numbing. So, you know.
That's not good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put water in it.
No.
Of course, we should probably move on to the last whiskey.
Well, I'm going to move on. I am really excited about this one. Back when just when Brook Laddie was reopened again, Jim McEwen was installed as the master distiller. That's probably not the right title, but I'm blanking on it right now. And anyways, so he went to the barley roasters, because when you roast the barley to kill it after it's been germinated, you use peat in that process if you're on Islay, because they didn't have a lot of wood. And he went and asked, well, why do you only peat to like 40 or 50 parts per million on the barley? And they said, oh, no one would drink it if it was peated higher, because it'd be too much fennel, too much of that smoky flavor. And he said, well, now hold my dram. And he asked them to smoke it way higher, not just a little bit higher, not just like 60, 70. He went to 100 and I think 60 something on the first go round. This one's at 137 parts per million. It's an Octomore. This is the 13th version, and it's 0.2, which is exciting because it's aged in Oloroso casks, which I don't know that Octomore. I can't think of another Octomore that was aged in that. Thad, do you know?
That is exciting, though.
I do not know if another. I at 13, and they do about 4 releases per number. I would have to say that there is another Oloroso, but whether or not it would be first-fill Oloroso, who knows?
It's quite. I mean, it is possible, but largely the ones I remember have been American oak or virgin oak, and then they use either mainland Scottish barley, or they use Islay barley. Anyway. Let's go to this one. 13.5, 13.2, sorry, 5-year-old Concerto Scotland mainland barley, 2002 edition, 58.3 Islay Oloroso aged.
So I have to ask, because when I saw the name on this, and I was like, did you pick this one because I'm a singer? Concerto?
You know, octaves,
Seriously?
Octomore.
Well, no, concerto.
Or a concerto, yes, of course, the concerto barley.
This was picked by random.org, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or did you?
Someone put their thumb on the scale a little bit, because this was new, and I really wanted to
And
try
someone
it.
wanted to taste it. I wonder who that is.
I don't know who that would be.
I bet they fucking love whiskey, though.
But they do.
I like what your dad said. There's no such thing as a bad good scotch.
Yeah.
That was the master distiller from Macallan.
One moment, everybody. I apologize.
Uh-oh.
Continue without me. One moment.
No worries.
I hope it's a cat or dog related emergency.
I'm gonna smell this. Ooh, yeah. That's like snuffling a chimney, man.
Pooches!
Look at the poppers.
Pooches! There's a
It's funny.
pooches!
It's funny. I know your dog was trying to get your attention.
Can't hear you.
I don't let you
Plug yourself in yet.
But like Chloe is down here trying to get my attention right now.
No, he's sitting behind me making these little yippy noises.
Pooches!
Oh, look at that little pooch. Look at that little pooch.
And he looks so sad. He's not sad. He just has so much shaggy hair. You're not
I'm the
sad.
same. I'm the same.
Yeah, me too.
What you doing, buddy?
Whatever. My favorite whiskey. Bang. Don't have
Oh,
to
for
go
sure. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That is one of the smokiest freaking Octomores I've smelled in a while. Oh man, that is good. Like, and I love Octomore, but that's a good Octomore. That nose is good. I do feel like I'm just getting like going up to a chimney and just like putting my nose on it.
There's a little bit of burning plastic bottle in this, which sounds like the worst smell possible, but it's good.
There is something slightly chemical in this nose. Yeah. Percentage is this sucker? 58.3.
8.3, yeah. Kelly?
Oh man, I really want to taste it. What do you think?
didn't mean to alarm you. I thought maybe you had something to say.
Not currently.
Okay. Check
In
notes
case
from
you
your
haven't
dad.
noticed, in case you haven't noticed, I do in fact simply just open my mouth and start talking anytime I have something to say,
Okay. All right.
regardless of whatever else is happening or if it's even on topic.
We are here for it, for sure.
Listen, y'all are just lucky because we've talked about Pete so much this episode, and I haven't even brought up all the murders. Anyway,
This smells like 1982. The disappearing.
No, we're talking like way
Oh,
history.
I guess it would have to be like this smells like 1431 or maybe even earlier, I guess.
1431. They put that old guy in the bog. I think that's what I'm smelling right now. Is that
It does smell. Now I'm smelling like it does smell like an old guy in the bog.
Oh, Bob. Yes. To quote Madeline Kahn, the great.
I'm so happy the dog is there with you. Can the dog smell the whiskey? Because I don't think the dog's going to like it.
Some?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not
he
into
just
it.
huffed
He's
at
not
me.
into it.
Not
No,
into
he's
it.
not. He's looking at his treats
No.
because he knows where his treats are. He also has approximately 6 teeth left. So
Oh no.
please enjoy watching him try to chew the treat that I just gave him. It's pretty
Oh,
great.
poor pooches.
Yeah, my cat has very few teeth left. I had to keep removing them.
I mean, and he's not old. It's just that he's a rescue. And so we had most of his teeth came out, but because he's 6 years old, he's 9 pounds, 10 inches tall. I grew up with Great Danes. The concept of a dog I can pick up is very foreign to me,
I bet.
but it's pretty great because he's my husband's little buddy. And one of the things when my husband was diagnosed with MS, his first MS attack basically destroyed his vision on one side. So he actually has 20/20 vision on both sides, but he gets 2 pictures.
Oh, really?
So he wears an eye patch. So please envision momentarily. Cypher doesn't have to envision. She has seen this in person. A 6'3", long hair, bearded guy with an eye patch, most likely wearing a pink floral shirt, walking a 10-inch tall, 9-pound dog, who's probably also wearing a floral shirt.
That's a complicated image, but I like it.
I
It's a
love
great
it. I
image.
think that's how people
Yeah.
should live.
There's a reason that my husband's nickname is Pirate Jesus online.
That's what
Oh,
Cypher said
real
too. That's one
nice.
Pirate
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep, that's it.
All right. All right, I need to sip this. I can't not sip
Yeah,
it.
I can't not sip this. This is
Oh, that tastes like caramel,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I the only one who tastes
No.
caramel?
No, there's the Oloroso for sure. This is sweeter than any other Octomore I've had, but it's still smoky. It's like burnt caramel, like caramel that has been burnt to the point where it's like almost charcoal, but there's like sweetness still inside of it, you know. Or when we'd take a marshmallow as a kid and it would catch on fire, and you're like, I'm gonna eat it anyway, well, even though it was all black on the outside. Like that's. Oh man, this is my favorite fucking whiskey. Oh, I love this so much.
Dad,
my
I have
God.
enough bubble wrap and tape. I can probably send you the rest of this little bottle if you'd like, Dad.
You definitely want that for sure.
yeah.
I did not, Cypher. I told them that you surprised me. I did not tell them that I got immediately screamed at because I started bunny hopping up and down with joy, and I was only 6 weeks post-op getting a hip replaced. So it was probably not a great idea. To be jumping.
Sometimes the
and
emotion,
down.
you know,
It was
it
very-
has to be expressed.
It does.
Yeah.
A big emotion.
Look at Andrew. He's about to start singing opera right now, just from
Yes.
the. No, don't actually do it.
No.
please.
See, you're
Okay.
you're messing up. If you're going to do that, you have to do Madeline Kahn from Young Frankenstein. Is what you have to do. Have you never seen Young Frankenstein?
Oh yeah, I
Um,
have. But I'm trying
I
to
just wanna
remember
say,
the scene.
I have a bottle of PC.
Oh, Sweet Mystery of Life. That's it. Right.
Sweet mystery of
Oh,
life.
sweet mystery of life, at last I found you. She was a trained opera singer. That's why she kept doing it in the shows. Anywho, you were
I'm
saying,
bored.
Andrew.
I don't know what I was saying. I was just
I'm
saying,
tired.
like, people are waxing poetic about Jim McEwen in the chat, and it's like I have a bottle of PC5 up there, and when we first saw it, we saw this guy leaning against the barrel with his arms crossed on the thing, and we thought, What a ponce. This is going to be a crappy bottle of whiskey, and it is the best whiskey I've ever had. Jim McEwen's a freaking genius. That's all.
Yeah, PC5 is amazing. I love Port Charlotte in general, but like PC5 that's like a revelation. It's like I mean, it's so good. But I don't know. This is really good. Andrew,
I quite like this one. This is really nice.
I mean, McEwen picked Adam Hammett to follow him up at the distillery of Brookladdy, and I think Adam's been crushing.
Down. Yeah, I like because I've had several of the more recent Octomores, and they're good. They're all good. I mean, they're not as good as the earlier Octomores, but this is getting back to like reminds me of like it's really good Octomore, man. Anyway, yeah. Is it so possible to get this stuff? I mean, I can't afford it, but I'm assuming it's new.
I think it's still available. If you look around,
yeah.
We find 13.2. I think K&L still has it here in LA.
Well, if I win the lottery, I will buy some of this. This is definitely out of my price range, but
hey, every once in a while you got to do something nice for yourself.
Self-care. No, I do. I do.
I mean,
I have to, within reason.
What's reason?
Got to feed these cats.
That is very important because they will eat you.
Yeah, if I don't feed them, they eat me. So
they will eat you. They have no compunction or emotional attachment.
Hey,
they will eat you.
They will for like 2 days,
like
and
chickens.
Then it's like, oh, that's
chickens
gone.
Are dinosaurs. They have not forgotten that they are dinosaurs.
Are you a dinosaur, Chloe? You're not a dinosaur.
Oh, Chloe is the sweetest cat.
Chloe would never eat me. She's too polite. She would never do that.
A demon incarnate.
My cats are the nicest cats. They're like dogs. They're not regular cats.
I had a cat like that growing up. She was literally like a dog. I think it's because she grew up around our Great Dane. This cat is special, so many ways. Just interesting. And yep. The demon, completely black with orange eyes, which is a little creepy when it's very dark and he just opens his eyes and blinks at you. It's a very Cheshire Cat moment.
And cats only need just a tiny bit of light and then it'll reflect right back at you. It's very creepy.
It's, cats. That's how they do.
There's a question for you. Have you seen Thor and Loki, our newest editions?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, now you have to show me. I'm just saying.
Oh, it's from someone in chat. Do you have access to chat, Kelly?
I do. I'm looking at it.
Silale? I don't want to mispronounce it, but it seems like Silale.
I have not seen Thor and Loki. You'll have to send me.
I like the names.
Yeah, see, ours are Bones and Scotty, and they do actually have their proper uniform collars, like the real ones, but Scotty chewed half of his off. So he can't. He just doesn't behave. It's okay. It's a problem.
Holy schmoly.
We got to talk to
Kelly, what do you think? I mean, I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, this is really good. This is definitely the one I like the best. The first one and this one. 100%.
I think you might be a Pete head.
It's definitely it's not that the other ones weren't good. They were fine, but they did not have as much character.
I cannot disagree with you.
You should drink a book. If you're going to be drinking something that is this complex, just drink a book.
A book that's been saved from a fire. Just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely, right?
Have you had Port Charlotte before?
Me?
Kelly?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no.
You should. I think.
I think that's your new favorite. I'm gonna say right now, Port Charlotte.
Yeah, because that's like $60 a bottle maybe for just the regular Port Charlotte, but I think you'd really like it. Yeah, it's the standard outturn. It's like 10 years, 10-year-old. It's really good.
Actually, the brewery up here, whose sample glasses I've been drinking out of the whole time, opened a distillery right before the pandemic, and then the entirety of the pandemic they just spent perfecting all their stuff. And so now they got a license and they opened a little speakeasy bar at the brewery. And they make good stuff.
Oh yeah?
It's good. They have one that's definitely like what is the name of their distillery? The brewery is Captain Lawrence. and I can never remember the name of their distillery because it's a different one.
We should try to get a hold of some of that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If you hadn't noticed, I'm extremely white. I am a white girl, and I absolutely go very in on all the pumpkin spice. It is. I don't do the yoga pants. I don't do the Uggs.
No, I like pumpkin spice. I feel like it gets a bad rap.
It's wonderful.
Look at Andrew. See, it's whatever.
I'm not a pumpkin fan. I can't do it.
But they make a fall autumn whiskey that has like the nutmeg and the allspice, and like it's just one of those, you sip it and it's warm and cozy, and
I would try that.
happy.
I make a traditional, like for Christmas, a family beverage. Hot buttered rum is kind of like a family tradition, and I make my own, and then and I have a little grinder where I grind some like cinnamon and dark chocolate and stuff onto the top of the whipped cream, and like pumpkin pie spices.
Well, yeah. See, that's what pumpkin spice is. Everybody's like, oh, it tastes like pumpkin. I'm like, no, it's the spices you put in the pumpkin.
Exactly.
It's not. I always do, for Christmas, I always do Glühwein. Because...
or mulled wine like that. And that's the same spices mostly, you know.
Current Spirits. That's the name. Current Spirits. Had to look it up. Current Spirits. It's lovely. And of course, I like supporting a little small company here. We've been going to the brewery since not long after they opened, and he started with a room that is about the size of my apartment, and he now owns half the building, and opened a beer garden and a full beer hall, and has the distillery now, and he truly loves what he's doing. So
I get that.
I like supporting that.
Yeah, it turns out people like booze and they'll pay for it.
I know. I'm just sad that they banned dogs. They got a complaint and they banned dogs. They let kids in though.
No, huh?
I'm sorry, but the kid is more of a biohazard than my dog.
I would agree.
Especially
I'm sorry
now.
to anybody in chat who has a kid, but they are walking biochemical weapons.
They're
filthy. They're noisy.
I feel like we're taking a stand all of a sudden, and
Listen.
I mean, I don't disagree with it, but I'm just worried about the millions of letters we'll receive
from our
just mail them to me. I have a PO box. Don't worry, I never check it.
They have nothing to do but send us letters.
Oh, I saw a kid once. I'm gonna.
I'd be delighted if I got a letter, because that would have meant they figured out who I am, where I live, and had to.
No, okay. First off, let me tell you, as somebody who has had somebody come into my chat and say, "One day I'll find where you live," it's not actually that nice.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's definitely not. Like there's a whole issue with parasocial relationships in general.
Yeah.
But saying that it's not bad that someone knows who you are, like when they say, "Oh, the whiskey guy," yeah, that's fantastic.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find your little niche and you just take a chisel and make it bigger. Because if it doesn't fit, you just do a Cinderella stepsister thing and cut off bits until it fits. It just
till you've turned yourself into a caricature that is monetizable. Right?
Wait,
that's the goal.
Don't you lose actual important parts of yourself, like toes?
No, only like
excuse me. You can absolutely not have toes, and in fact, they cut off the heels first.
Oh,
there's not any major arteries in the heel. Don't worry, they were probably fine.
I can't listen to this without more Octomore.
Oh man, I want to pour more, but I'm saving this tiny bottle I have because it's so good. And definitely no one's putting water in this. That's for sure.
I was extremely smart, and I poured a very, very tiny amount to start with.
Yeah. Well, I know Andrew, and I know where he lives, though, too. So
that's true.
Yeah, see, you know where he lives.
I've made a fatal mistake.
I've made a huge mistake. Oh no,
Kelly, I certainly hope you can share this with your father somehow, because
I will get it to him. Yeah. No, it sucks that my parents live as far away as they do. Because I'm pretty lucky. Like, obviously, my parents and I don't always see perfectly eye to eye.
What?
Understatement.
How unusual.
I'm very lucky in the fact that despite that, and despite the fact that I live so far away from them, even if you have a fight, like my parents never close the conversation without saying they love me, and it's nice, even though I'm so far away. And it did suck for the 3 years I didn't get to see them. And then, you know, the birthday was great. They really weren't planning on the hip thing, you know, but when the surgeon's like, yeah, we're fitting you in 3 weeks. Okay. So I'm bionic now. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Until it gets cold outside. Then you know you've got metal in your leg, let me tell you.
Makes
20
sense.
degrees will kill you. But yeah, no, it's pretty great. Don't tell me you love me. God. Gross.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Kelly. My dad passed away in 99, but you know, right after I moved out here. And I remember like at the funeral, my sister-in-law came up and she was like, you know, she was like, your dad really loved you. He like, but I was like, yeah, I know, because he would say it all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's not a thing that's normal for dads to say, you know what I mean? And so it's like you don't expect that. But yeah, he always said that. So
I actually
nice.
just had a conversation about that with my mom this morning, because I think unfortunately, especially in America, there's this like really reinforced idea, and this next phrase often makes people upset, but I'm going to explain it. The toxic masculinity in America is not something that only hurts women, it hurts men. And you know, you get these people that are like, well, he's just, you know, he's a man's man or whatever else. I'm like, okay, my dad was in the military. He was in the Army for 21 years, combat medic, has a Bronze Star. I have seen him cry in front of people. I have seen him advocate for mental health. I have never seen him tell anybody to hold their emotions inside. And I would probably put a challenge to any of these dudes that are like, you have to be stoic, whatever, that my dad is probably a manlier man than that, if you're going to go with that route. But you know, don't do that.
No.
You know, don't do that to your kids. Don't do that to yourself, man.
Yeah. Are you afraid of showing compassion? Are you afraid of showing that I'm a human?
People think it's weakness is the thing, I think.
Weakness.
It's been like connected to weakness, and that's not true. But
no, it's not. It's fear. It's not weakness. It's not the weakness that they're showing that they're afraid of. It's the fear of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because vulnerability can be compromised. It can be used. Now is when I probably say I'm an ambassador for a mental health organization, which is why I'm coming up with these talking points so quickly.
Yes, please. Which one, and can we donate and blah, blah, blah.
So takethis.org, which advocates for mental health through gaming and nerdiness, you know, because there's a lot of great lessons emotionally that you can work out through games, that you can work out through books. And that's even before you go into tabletop games where you get to use your imagination and play out all the things that you wish you could have done. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm on that, and I'm also on the advisory board for Stream to End MS, which is the National MS Society's streaming arm that has just started. We just had our inaugural tabletop event weekend, and we raised over $11,000. So,
congratulations! That's awesome.
Yeah, so, but takethis.org is great. Cypher is also an ambassador for them. And it really, honestly, it's speaking as someone who spent a very long time thinking that to not show emotions meant that I was a very strong person. It's not. And the problem is all it's going to take. It's like having a castle wall that has one brick at the bottom that's loose. The brick comes out and everything falls down, and you're just going to have a problem. Yeah. Don't do that. Make sure that the castle wall is reinforced, that the arrow slots are very, very, you know, narrow, because you want to make sure that you can shoot out of them. You know, definitely go for the spikes.
Metaphor.
No, what metaphor?
I don't know.
Okay. It's for raising cattle, I think, right? That's what's a meadow's for. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, but seriously, it's a big problem, unfortunately, especially in America, this stigma that's attached to mental health, especially for men. And it really needs to stop. It needs to stop, because you're just going to isolate yourself to the point of pain. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a difference between being an introvert and being completely isolated. I am a hella introvert. Like, I am what's called an introverted extrovert, meaning I can be this way when I'm sitting with the lower half of me in my pajamas and looking good from the waist up. And I can talk to you. But if you put me in a room with like lots of people, I'm just like, you don't really want to
I
do
relate
it.
to everything you're saying.
Yeah. And you know, it's I think that I maybe took your show a little too serious in a serious direction there. But
It's fine. We can go there.
It's important. It's really important.
It's super important. And I don't want to shy away from anything we want to discuss because
did we put any of those links in chat? Can we get some?
Tanya, if Tanya's still here, Tanya will definitely
put them in there.
them.
That would be good.
It'll probably be censored. So if you just put DOT instead of a period, we can probably get it through the.
Yeah, they do. They do a lot of really great work. Like for instance, okay, we're gonna relate this to video games, right? The new God of War. I've just platinumed it. You have taken a character who showed up on the scene, 20 years ago, I think Kratos showed up for the first time. The first time you see him is we're just going to say that there's a mini game where you press buttons and hear ladies giggling off screen. That's, you know, what Kratos was. And now you have this most recent game where it's this guy who has spent his whole life repressing every emotion so that he can deal with the violence that he has to perpetuate, coming to terms with the fact that he spent his whole life like that and having to learn to get past that because he sees it going on to his son and he doesn't want that. I'm like,
there was actually an article in the LA Times talking about that they had unpacked that kind of psychology for the character. And I thought for a video game, it's
amazing.
It's amazing. You're going to spend 50 plus hours with this character and really live that story.
And you hire a voice cast of actor, and this is all motion captured, you know, so you're getting their facial expressions. And when you have someone like Chris Judge, and I mean, I'm a huge Stargate SG-1 fan, and like his character was my favorite, so I was super excited. When you have somebody like him or Alistair Duncan, I mean, Alistair Duncan gets to play a disembodied head. How do you turn that into something that's deeply emotional and yet it works? Although I will use this plug to say, Sony Santa Monica, there's my camera. Where's my Jormungandr plushie? I want it. I need it. I need that. I need my Fenrir plushie, and I need my disembodied head crossbody purse, even though I know that might be a problem on the street.
Is it the disembodied head that someone made love to at the end of the opera?
No, that would be John the Baptist. We're not going to say that way. Johannan, we're going to say his German name. There we go. That's better. No, this is Mimir. This is from Norse mythology, the smartest man alive that Odin stuck to Yggdrasil. This is where we get the word mimic from, Mimir. But yeah, Alistair Duncan is amazing. But yeah, go play God of War because holy crap, it's an emotional journey. It really is. And plus,
Thad, did we get your notes on Octomore?
We didn't. I talked too much. I'm sorry, Thad.
No, you talked exactly the right amount.
No.
Exactly the right amount.
Everything you said is far more important than, my mediocre tasting notes. All right.
That's a negative, sir. I don't think that you need to be talking about yourself that way. I'm just
it's
saying.
better than it's far better than how I used to talk about myself. So, progress is progress, even if it's one step at a time.
Hey, baby steps.
Journey of healing.
Journey of healing starts with describing this whiskey to us. How many food items can you compare this whiskey to?
A fair bit to unpack from this. I'm not going to overtalk Kelly, but everything she said is very important, very true. And as someone who's struggled with it myself, definitely very, very important in today's day and age. Going back to you all recommending Port Charlotte, why wouldn't you recommend Ardbeg Ugadal for someone who might be a peat head?
I have Ardbeg. So
do you have Ugadal?
That would involve me standing up and walking 10 feet, and I'm not doing that. I'm just
fair enough.
I love Ugadal. Port Charlotte's currently my favorite peaty whiskey. That's why. But they're both great.
We were just talking about Bruichladdich, so yes.
And honestly, Ugadal is kind of more expensive right now. Like it keeps
Right,
going up,
it's like
so.
up in the 80s, and you can get 60s for the Port Charlotte. So,
But I mean, I spent $80 on a video game.
Yeah.
You know, I lie. It was more than that because I got the collector's edition. It came with Mjolnir.
You
Mjolnir
gotta
is
have
bigger.
Mjolnir.
gotta have
Mjolnir, the
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir they sent is bigger than my dog. There's a picture of my dog on the couch with Mjolnir. I tweeted it. It's ridiculous.
I don't think you're very serious, because is Mjolnir not beside your desk at all times?
Well,
The funny story is
can
before
you
I
just
go
hold your
get-
hand out? And
before I get Mjolnir for you, the funny part is I couldn't get it out of the box. I had to ask my husband to get it out of the box. Therefore, I am not worthy.
It is very heavy.
Yes.
that's the little known test of Mjolnir.
But
Is,
that-
can you get it out of the
please-
box?
Please continue your discussion. I will listen while I
Sorry
go
about that.
get Mjolnir.
All right. So for me, I don't do this often, but this is definitely my favorite whiskey. Of the night. Oh man, I do love me some Octomore. It's so good. The nose for me was just like it's savory. It's smoked salmon, and pork loin just sitting on a nice Traeger that's been smoking for 8 hours long, you know. And then as it sat a little bit, it became a little sweeter. Like buttercream frosting that's on a moist yellow cake. And it's just very hearty, warming, and just very, very delicious in there. And then I had some weird hints of a hint of canned hominy. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but
You eat better than us.
hominy is kind of like puffed corn, I guess is the best way I could explain it. But that's not the right. I don't know how to explain it. I just grew up eating it. And then after it sat for a while, I definitely got some fresh flapjacks that have been drizzled with maple syrup in the nose. As
I
far
think
as the
that's
taste,
the caramel that I was getting. Is the same
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
It's what grits are made of.
exactly.
It's like a southern
Sweet
thing, hominy.
grits. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as the taste goes, oh, I love everything about it. You know, for me, it was delicious, like perfectly popped popcorn that's been buttered. The smoked salmon still comes through, but this smoked salmon is like the pre-packaged thinly sliced stuff that you would put on a lox bagel. But there's like also melted butter on top of that, and like a squeeze of fresh lemon. And then some like weird chemical taste, like plastic bags. And the finish was nice. Nothing special, but it packaged everything together in a nice, complete whiskey. As far as water goes, I would say no, but not probably for the reason why you're thinking. It did nothing for me. It didn't make it better. It didn't make it worse. So why dilute it? The only thing that came out more for me was on the taste with water, and it came out more charcoal notes, which I love the taste of like a burning coal in your mouth, but you know, it just didn't make it better.
And if you had to like rate this among other Octomores, where would you put it?
Probably top 5 for me, honestly. Like
Yeah,
the 1.1 of Octomore is
You've had
never had it,
probably
but
my
yeah.
absolute favorite.
It's
Octomore
unbelievable.
ever.
I've heard that, but yeah,
It is
maybe one day.
unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, top 5. Yeah.
Kelly, oh, there it is. Well, you can lift it.
I fucking love Mjolnir.
Oh, pooches.
Oh.
It's bigger than the dog. And it's heavy.
The dog?
No, please. The cat's
Um,
heavier than the dog.
Kelly, we've had a wonderful time getting to know you and talking to you. So it's really awful that I have to raise a serious question this far into the show.
I feel like we've been pretty serious so far, so maybe it'll go along with the tone of what we've talked about
Yes.
earlier.
Well, I think we got more serious as we went on, and that's good. And so I think the context of this question coming out at this
Okay.
point in the show is probably not unexpected or out of tone with the rest of the show.
Okay.
Do you want me to ask, Andrew? I can ask.
Yeah, I feel embarrassed. Can you ask Joseph?
Sure.
Oh no, this is going
Hey,
to be
Kelly.
interesting. Yeah,
We just want to know, do you like whiskey?
I do, and I'm not going to say it because I know you want me to.
Well, you're never getting invited back.
I hecking love whiskey.
Maybe the show should be called I Hecking Love Whiskey. I don't know. We should think about it. Workshop, maybe.
I'm telling you, there's a reason that I have this emote. It's just me saying heck. There's reasons behind it because I never know when my mom is lurking in chat. I will say that she did. I don't know if she told you, Dad. She did hear me slip up and say the bad word when I was doing PT after my surgery. But I think I had a good reason for it.
Oh yeah, that's totally acceptable.
It hurt.
I want to tell you that I was probably 26 before I said the word fuck in front of my parents. So I understand completely. And I caged it in a joke because we were talking about something. And then my father said something about, I don't want a water. And I said,
oh
well,
yeah, don't you know what
W.C.
fish
Fields
do
said,
it?
I don't want water, fish fucking it.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I said it. That was my joke.
That's the old standby for the joke. Yeah, I mean, like one of my favorite comedians is George Carlin, and you can't get through one of his routines. We saw him live like right before he died, and it was the best show. I've not ever laughed that hard in my life, honestly. But I feel like he used profanity for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it can be used properly for impact, unless of course you're Scottish, in which case it's just every other word.
No, that's the Scottish language.
Just go read Scottish Twitter. It's great. Scottish Twitter's wonderful.
No, there are jokes that are better with some profanity in them in the right place. Absolutely, 100%.
100%.
Yeah,
it's a thing. Yeah.
Your father says, "Go ahead and say it."
I'm not gonna say it. No, Mom's watching. I'm just saying, Mom. But Dad, my dad, W.C. Fields apparently turned into a link. Don't click that.
Oh yes, he's got the dots. In it.
But no, in fact, I do fucking love whiskey. I absolutely do. It's good. It's good. It's interesting now that after a couple years of developing an appreciation for it, this would have knocked me on my ass a couple years ago.
Oh, probably. So rewind though. Like we didn't get this on the show. Like I know we're way over time. I don't care. What was your first introduction? What kind of tipped you over that edge?
Probably when my husband yelled at me for using redbreast in a hot toddy.
And you're still married?
We are married for 17 years.
He loves you.
He obviously loves you.
Or it's just too annoying to change the situation. One of the two.
No. Redbreast would be divorce in Ireland. Absolutely.
Yeah. I only did that once.
Once.
My mother said that to me once. Oh, Johnny Dangerously. Such a good movie. You farting bastards.
Just the best, like when he's like taking the puppies or the kittens out of the bin and like with a price gun, like just the best throwaway gag, like in a movie where it's funnier than really anything else in the movie, but he's just like,
Well, it's honestly, there's not a lot of films like that anymore, and for me, it's what makes the Mel Brooks films so good is because the gags are all there. You have to be watching for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you actually have to be quite well read to get them.
So, yeah.
For instance, I will tell it because my dad is obviously unable to chat right now, but the first time my dad ever watched it, he watched History of the World in theaters, and I believe they lived in Michigan at the time. And he was in the theater, and here they come with, "Hey, Oedipus, what's up, motherfucker?" And my dad's cracking up, and everybody else is like, "Why is that funny?" I'm like, "It's hilarious."
I have a thing about history of the world because I went to see it in the theaters and it totally got me. I was starting to walk out, and then Mel Brooks comes on and goes, "Hey, where's it going?" I thought that was one of the very first kind of interstitial in the credits, like the movie's not over yet sort of thing.
Yeah. I have said before, if I ever get to the point where I'm booked to do like live concert work again, I'm commissioning somebody to do the sheet music for Madeline Kahn's song from Blazing Saddles, and that will be my encore every time.
That is
100 million%,
That is
because that song is amazing. She's amazing. Especially if you know about the deleted scenes that were apparently too spicy to be left in.
I don't think I do.
I don't know that. No, I'm going to YouTube right after this.
Well, I can give you a hint. So, so is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted? Room is dark, and the deleted part is you hear some very interesting slurping noises, and then Cleavon Little says, "Ma'am, that is my elbow." It did not make it into the film.
That's a shame.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Is it true? Oh, it's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Yeah, no, that's my jam. Like the old Mel Brooks movies.
Well,
is my jam. But the whiskey, back to the whiskey. See, this is what happens when you have somebody with ADHD on your show.
Kelli, I want to say thank you so much for being the best guest to finish out our season before we go to the Christmas break. I want to thank, Thad and Joseph and you and our audience and the people.
And we want to thank you as well, Andrew. We want to thank you. Yeah. Yo, don't do that. You provided the whiskey, and we couldn't do the show without you. So
there's never been someone I've drank whiskey with that I didn't have a great time with. Like, they are good people. They're smart thinkers. They are creative, talently, and they're also talently creative.
No, they're creative, talently. You're right.
It's 100%. Is that before or after the whiskey?
Coming to my new website, creativetalently.com.
I propose for your next season. Me and Cypher, same time.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll do it.
Let's do it.
If you want shenanigans, that's how you get shenanigans.
We like
we'll just only have 3 whiskeys on that show because I don't think we'll get through them all.
You won't.
Theory.
You won't, but no, it's been lovely being here. I was really excited to do this. Both because obviously I don't know these like you all know these. I'm sitting here going, these are all fancy words they're using. My goodness. I'm like, this tastes good. Yep. Just make up some words to make myself sound good. But
you were great.
But
we
no,
loved
seriously,
your descriptions.
it's great. Because I like learning things, and I learn things when I talk to people that know about these things.
I learn something every time we do this show, so
it's fun to learn new things.
Yeah.
It's even more fun when there's alcohol involved.
There's never not.
Because we fucking love whiskey.
We fucking love whiskey. Thaddeus, Joseph, see you next year. Kelli, thank you for being such a great guest. Tanya, thank you for suggesting Kelli. Thank you, everyone on the season. Thank you, the whiskey makers.
So long, Jabba.